always positive. In my personal practice and what I coach with my clients is to be in the 80 to 100% the majority of the time. That means chaos visits me, fear visits me, anger visits me, frustration visits me. All of those things visit me, but because of my daily practices, they just visit and they don't move in. So I'm hoping the tips that I share today will give everyone here an opportunity to live in the majority of the time peaceful environment within themselves. This isn't an external conversation, so to speak. It's about finding peace for yourself. And that is one of the big things for me is when we're at peace with ourselves, then it's easier to be at peace and in calm with other people. So how do you navigate this fast-paced, always changing and seemingly chaotic world? You know, there's pandemics, there's man-made disasters, there's natural disasters. We may be going through a personal challenge right now, and all of it can seem too much and too hard at some time. But know that even in the chaotic times, there is the ability to find peace within, to come into a calm place for yourself. Again, the majority of the time, I coach, I teach, I speak about positivity, and I'm not that all the time. I am that the majority of the time because of my practices. But before we get into my tips, I like to know the words that we're working with too. So the definition of chaos is a state of utter confusion. The definition of calm is a state of tranquility. So chaos and confusion is going to be closer to the 0 on my scale, and the calm and tranquility is going to be closer to the 100. I don't personally know anybody, you probably don't either, know anybody who is 100 or 0, but you probably know people in your own lives, or maybe you're one of them, that is closer to the 100 or closer to the 0. Neither are right or wrong, it's just an experience, and you get to decide how to move through those experiences closer to how you want to be in the world and in your own life. So I'm going to give you 10 tips on ways to navigate from chaos to calm. I want to remind people I've been doing these practices for years, and still chaos, frustration, fear, all of those emotions and feelings visit me. I just don't invite them to move in anymore. With my tools and practices, I return to how I want to feel the majority of the time. I would love to tell you anger never visits me, but it does. I would love to tell you I never feel unworthy, but sometimes I do. But because of my practices, I don't stay there nearly as long as I might have before I started these as a daily practice. So even though the tips I'm going to share with you are pretty easy tips, it's still a daily practice to make them practical and habitual in your own life. So I encourage you to give them a try and see if they work for you. And if they don't, that is okay too. But my first tip, and even though I'm not a big fan of the word always, this is as close to always as I'm going to come up with, and that's awareness. Because when we're aware of how we feel, when we're aware of our environment around us, then we can make choices how to move through those feelings and move through that environment. When we're on autopilot and being in an unconscious state of mind, life is living us. We are not living life. So when you're aware of your feelings, whether they're happy feelings or whether they're sad feelings, then you can adjust from there. So I focus daily on how I feel, and I'm aware of my feelings. So when something doesn't feel good to me, if anger does not feel good in my body, I will work on ways to move into feeling a little bit better. Anger is not wrong. Anger is not bad. It just doesn't feel good. But when I am feeling angry and I'm aware of those feelings, sometimes I want to stay angry because the situation in that moment is so heated for me. but it's what do I do with it? Do I act upon it or do I feel it? And when I feel it rather than acting upon it, I can move forward into feeling a little bit better. If you're going through a big challenge, you may be stuck in those feelings a little bit longer. And if it's just a minor annoyance, you're going to shift out of it quicker. But my first tip is to be aware of how you feel and be aware of your surroundings and the people that you're with. My second tip is to breathe. And that sounds like a really easy one too. And when things are going well in our day or in our life, we are probably breathing well. However, when we find ourselves frustrated, worried, scared, fearful, we tend to constrict our breathing. So we're no longer even giving our body the oxygen it needs, our brain and our heart need to make conscious and clear decisions that are going to help us move through whatever we're going through. So I have a couple of tips that I'm going to share with you, and I invite you on the call to do them with me. You don't have to speak them out loud. This is all inner work, but these are two different breathing techniques that I would encourage you to try out when you start feeling yourself feeling less than, when you start feeling that frustration or anger bubble up. And the first one, it's the easier one of the two. Both are fairly easy. But the first one, I want you to take a deep inhale. And as you inhale, you're going to inhale, I choose peace and calm. And then you're going to hold it for a moment. And then you're going to exhale, I am peace and calm. So do that with me a couple of times. Inhale, I choose peace and calm. Hold it. Exhale, I am peace and calm. One more time. Inhale, I choose peace and calm. Hold it. Exhale, I am peace and calm. The second one is a little longer. So if the inhale of I choose peace and calm is a little hard to hold, then this one might be even a little more difficult, but you don't have to do it on 4 counts. It is a 4-count practice, but if you could only do 2 counts or 3 counts, it's the fact that you're consciously choosing to focus on your breath is what matters the most. So we're going to inhale on a count of 4, then we're going to hold for a count of 4. We're going to exhale on a count of 4, and then we're going to hold for a count of 4, and then repeat it. So inhale, 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 1, 2, 3, 4. Again, one more time. Inhale, 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 1, 2, 3, 4. Those 2 techniques of breathing is going to bring you back into a space of calm because it's going to feed your lungs, it's going to feed your brain and everything to be able to make clearer decisions. And the simple focus of your breath is also going to take you away from focusing on what is bringing you into chaos. So awareness is tip 1. Tip 2 is breathing. And the third one is gratitude. Gratitude, gratitude, gratitude. I start my morning in gratitude. I might think about the things I'm grateful for in the upcoming day. I might think about the things I'm grateful for in general in my life. I might think about what I was grateful for yesterday, but I get my day started off on a positive note in gratitude. I think about what I'm grateful for during the day, and then I also think about at night when I'm going to sleep what I was grateful for in that day. Now, gratitude is easy when things are going well in your life, but what about those moments when you're in a hard time, a challenging time, a sad time? It's even more important to use then. And when things are really, really hard and you can't find a reason to be grateful, I encourage you to go back to the things that we often take for granted. I don't know about you, but in For many, many years, I never thought about the fact that I breathe on my own. My heart beats on its own. Excuse me. I don't need to think about it. I don't tell my body, heart, start beating, lungs, start breathing. So I get into gratitude for those things that I took for granted for all these years because they are still working. And then for those of you, there are many people who need medical assistance for their lungs to work, for their hearts to work. So you can be grateful for that medical assistance. I'm not going to say everything, but the vast majority of things, there is something to be grateful for about it. Now, when you're in the moment of things not working, it's often after we get to the other side of that challenge that we're able to see the gratitude in it. But when you can find the gratitude in the moment, then it's going to help you move through it even quicker. You're still going to go through that challenge, but you're going to go through it with a little bit more grace and ease. Often we find why we went through it after it's over. Maybe it helped us grow into learning something new. Maybe we grew our courage through it, our strength through it. We learned a new tool because of what we went through. So there's many reasons that we can find gratitude in our challenges, but we often don't find them until the very end. So gratitude is a great way to step out of chaos and back into calm. And the fourth tip is to affirm what you want in your life. It is really easy when things aren't going your way to affirm what you don't want. We talk about it with our friends, with our family, about the hard day we had, what we don't like about anything that's going on in the world. But when we focus on what we do like and what we do want in our world, we are bringing that forth into the calm rather than giving our attention to the chaos of what we don't want. So here are a few of the statements that I use for myself. And I encourage you to either use these or come up with ones that will work for you. And one is I might start my day and say, today is going to be a good day. And so I start my day with the knowledge, with the thought that today is going to be a good day. Now, if I have a meeting coming up today that I don't want to attend, I know it's going to be long, or there's somebody on the call that highly disagrees with me, then my statement is probably going to be, that went better than expected, because I already have thought that this meeting is not going to go well. So now I've given it the opportunity for it to go better than expected. And it works for me. Sometimes those meetings are still challenging, but they are better than what I expected them to be. And sometimes those meetings turn out really good. So it's about showing up for you on how you want to be that way. And then the last two I have is sometimes when something is going on that I'm in a space that I don't want to be in, I remind myself of this. I'm in the right place at the right time with the right people for the right reasons. I may not know why I'm there, but I know it's the right place for me to be. And when I bring myself back into that state of calm, rather than the chaos of why am I here, then I can make decisions from a calm space of staying and observing or leaving because I'm afraid I'm going to absorb that energy rather than observe that energy. And then lastly, it's what needs to get done will. I don't know about you, but often my to-do list is at least 10 to-dos longer than I have time to do them. I can get overwhelmed with my to-do list. I'm focusing on what I'm not doing rather than focusing on what I can do. And when I come into a space of calm through what needs to get done will get done, I start checking off my list rather than focusing on the list of things that I haven't got done. I remind myself what needs to get done will get done. So those affirming statements are going to help you focus on calm rather than focus on the chaos that might be going on around you at that time. Tip 5, what you focus on grows. And what does that mean? Again, keep in mind, I'm a majority of the time person. I'm not going to say what you focus on always grows or what you focus on never grows. But the majority of the time, if you're at the 51% mark, that focus of focusing on calm, you're giving that the energy to grow. If you're focusing on chaos, you're giving that the energy to grow. And in the scientific world, it's called your reticular activating system. And what does that mean? There's thousands of things going on around us at any given moment, and the thoughts in our head at any given moment. We can't possibly see, hear, and know it all. So we have a filtering system in our brain called the reticular activating system, and it filters out all the noise that we don't have experiences with. So if you're focused on calm, it is going to match around you all the calm experiences and show you you're right. You live in a calm world. If you're focused on the chaos around you, your reticular activating system is going to point out every chaotic experience in your day around you to prove to you you're right. You live in a chaotic world. Again, this is a majority of the time. It is not all the time. So when you are focused on calm, chaos is still around you. You're just not giving it your attention. When you're focused on chaos, peace is around you. You're just not giving it your attention. So when you're focused on what you want more than focused on what you don't want, you're giving what you do want the attention to grow and to expand. Tip 6. It's a pretty important one, and I'm pretty sure if you're like me, it might be one that's a bigger challenge than you think, and that's to be gentle with yourself and to be gentle with others. We tend to be our worst enemy, and if you listen to your own self-talk, you probably don't say that to, certainly not to people you love, maybe to people you don't like, but our own self-talk tends to be very harsh. So as you practice staying in a state of calm, I promise you, you're going to still have states of chaos. And if you're beating yourself up for being in that space, you're giving chaos the attention it's asking for. I look at it as a toddler, a 2-year-old screaming, see me, see me, see me. And chaos wants that attention, where calm is just there. And calm is, I'm here when you're ready to see me. So be gentle with yourself as you start making this a daily practice, if you choose to make it a daily practice. And be gentle with other people. When other people show up in hurtful manners or doing hurtful things, being compassion does not mean you agree with what they're doing. It does not mean you give them permission for what they're doing. It does mean that you know they have a backstory that has brought them to this space of that hurtful action. It does mean you are not going to throw more chaos into their chaos. Hopefully, with practice, you're going to invite
طلعت
people into your
كريم ده شوية شيكاغو.
Please,
yeah, you're going to
Please,
invite
can
people into your calm more than into joining people in their chaos. So what you focus on, it gives that attention, and remember to be gentle with yourself. And then tip 7, don't give your power away to things you don't have control of. A good example of that is people will complain about the weather. We can't change the weather, but we're complaining and blaming about the weather. So focus on what you do have control over. I wish I had control over other people. I don't. I have control over myself. I have control over how I react or respond to situations, but I can't control my boss. I can't control my loved ones. I can't control other people around the world, but I can control how I react and respond to other people. So a question to ask yourself when you're getting frustrated with another person or another situation is to ask yourself, do I have control over changing this experience? And if you do, take a step forward to change that experience. But if you don't, remember you don't have control of the experience, but you do have control over how you respond to the experience. So don't let it get you into that chaotic state of mind, which is easy to do when you're out of control. It's easy to get into chaos. But remember, you do have control over how you walk through the experiences. And tip 8 is to do something. So because we're focused on awareness of how we feel and we're focused on awareness of what's around us, when we start feeling the frustration bubble up, or we start feeling the chaos or the anger, shift it before it takes over. What does that look like? It could be meditating. It could be taking a nap. It could be taking a walk. It could be reading a favorite book, listening to your favorite music, but do something to shift back into who you want to be rather than letting that chaotic moment take hold. And then tip 9 and 10, it's how do you share your environment of chaos or calm? So when we're in a calm state, our conversations are usually friendly. Our conversations are usually kind and compassionate. And yet when we're in a chaotic state, we usually go into blame, shame, and complain. And so you want to focus on when you're in that space. I encourage you to ask yourself a few questions. One is, does it need to be said? Two, does it need to be said right now? And three is, does it need to be said by me? Because when we're in that space of anger, especially, that'll be my main example. I know personally, and perhaps this happens for you as well, if someone is yelling at me, I have done two things most likely. One, I've shut down and I'm not listening. Or two, I'm defending myself from whatever they're saying to me. And that person may actually have some valid points that they want to get across to me, but because they're yelling at me, I'm not even listening. So if you're spewing out your hurt to the world or to other people, it's probably not being heard, or certainly not being heard the way you want it to be heard. So that's where I would go back to the tips of breathing, to get into gratitude, step away from the experience. So when you do come back and talk about it, you can talk about it from a space of calm. And people are going to listen more from a space of calm than they're going to listen to you when you're coming at them from a space of anger. Again, a good reminder, the majority of the time, 0 to 100, I am not calm 100% of the time, but because of my daily practices, I am calm 80 to 100% of my time. And then the last one is know your audience. So I bet each person on this call today has somebody in their life or a few people in their life that you say the sky is blue, they say the sky is gray. You say you like tea, they say they like coffee. They want to disagree with you and be combative on everything you bring up. That is chaos. That is drama. They feed off of blame, shame, and complain. They are not focused on solutions. They're focusing on the problems. So if you're looking for people who they don't have to agree with you, nor do you have to agree with them, but they are open to hearing your side. They are open to hearing your beliefs and what you think about yourself in the world. And you are open to hearing that for them. So you're able to have a conversation, which is probably going to be solution based rather than blame based. So just know who you're talking to. If you're talking with the argumentative person and engaging with the argumentative person, then you're probably going to stay in a space of chaos. If you're talking to the people who are willing to hear your point of view, even if they don't agree with it, then you're probably going to have a more calm and peaceful conversation. So know your audience for that. And then I like to, for the last one, it's actually tip 11 for you. It's something I do every single day. And it's probably one that I would, if you're going to take any of these tips, I would encourage you to take tip 11 and work with it. And that is, each day I ask myself, who do I want to be today? And how do I want to show up in the world? I want to show up as loving, kind, compassionate, peaceful, healthy, happy, all of those types of things. So when I'm having a moment where fear is getting my attention, frustration is getting my attention, it quickly does not feel good to me. So I can ask myself, who do I want to be today? I don't want to be that person who's complaining about something. I don't want to be that person who's hurting other people. I want to be the solution provider in the situation. So ask yourself, who do I want to be and how do I want to show up? And as a closing reminder, I've been doing this for years. All of these tips are easy. All of these tips are doable. And all of these tips require the daily practice so they become habitual, where when chaos visits you, the more you've practiced this, the less it's going to get a hold of you. It's certainly going to still be there. You live in a world, I live in a world that has the opportunity for chaos and it has the opportunity for calm. I get to decide and you get to decide which one we're going to give most of our attention to. So I wish each of you a day filled with love, peace, kindness, compassion, and all good things coming to you. And thank you so much for having me today.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.